Now, what we're going to do is yawning and stretching, but I've broken it down into 7 main steps, and that is according to the 7 chakras. And as you know, we have got 7 chakras, and if we start from the bottom up, you're sitting on the root chakra, you're sitting on it. Now the root chakra actually runs from the anus to the mouth. It's interesting, when we are yawning, we do a lot of work with our body, but also when we yawn, the mouth goes open, but there is stuff down here happening too. Right, okay. So the root chakra runs from the mouth to the anus through the alimentary canal. It has to do with our physical well-being. The second chakra from the bottom, I call it the sacral chakra, has to do with the sexual organs or with creativity. All right. The third chakra has to do with the navel chakra, and that is where we have our gut feeling. And you know, when we talk about gut feeling, we talk about if I had a free will, and if my mind were clear, I would know exactly what to do. So here's really our willpower, comes from there. Right. The chakra next up is the heart chakra, and that's the chakra that has to do with emotions, but it's actually way more important than that. Those bottom 3 chakras, the colors are red, orange, yellow. We haven't talked about the top 3 chakras yet, the crown, the brow, and the throat chakra, and the colors for that are purple, indigo, and blue. If you take the bottom 3 chakras, red, orange, yellow, and you take the top 3 chakras, purple, indigo, and blue, and where they touch, you get the yellow here, the blue there, you get green. Now green is the color for the heart chakra. So in a way, Mother Earth's energy comes up through the roots and the sacral and the solar plexus chakra. The universal forces, Father, Son, so to say, comes through us through the crown chakra, brow chakra, and the throat chakra, and it comes together in the heart chakra. That's why the heart chakra is the most important one. It's the one that puts us in balance, in harmony. Of course, around the heart, not only do we have the heart, but we also have the lungs. Right? So an important section of our being. And when we talk about love, we normally think about the heart. All right. The next chakra up is the throat chakra, and as I said, the color is blue. The next chakra up is the brow chakra, the color is indigo, and the next one is purple. There is kind of a sequence in that. The root chakra has to do with our physical well-being. The second chakra from the bottom, orange, has to do with the creativity that should arise from our physical well-being. The yellow, to do with the solar plexus chakra, has to do with how we, with our free will and our clear mind, work out and put into action our creativity so that we reach that balance for the heart chakra. Once we are in balance from that end, maybe at the same time we started using some godly or divine energy, universal energy, to make us not only physically healthy, but also spiritually healthy. Maybe we started to use the power from the brow chakra to do with intelligence, with imagination and inspiration. We started using that with the creativity from the second chakra. And then with the third chakra from the top, we started to actually express that. So the yellow chakra here, how we express physical things, and the blue chakra here, how we express metaphysical things, like speaking about it, talking about it, poems, singing, and those belong together. So the bottom and the top chakra belong together, the second and the second on top belong together, these two belong together, and it all comes together in the heart. That's so important. Through the heart go 3 axes: the vertical axis, a horizontal axis this way, and a perpendicular. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, this will become clear in one of the exercises that we'll do. So remember, vertical, horizontal, and perpendicular. Now the vertical axis brings together our physical well-being and our spiritual well-being into the heart. Not only that, because that other axis that we've got here, that is our masculine and feminine side, and that's supposed to be coming together also. Men should become gentlemen, and women should become ladies. And then we bring the masculine and the femininity in balance. Not only that, we've got this perpendicular chakra, and that has to do with the past, that is behind us and pushes us, and the future that is in front of us and pulls us. But when we have the past and the future in balance, if we don't escape into weird things, or if we don't live in the past, when we live in the now, of course we live in balance. The yawning and stretching exercise, I've broken them down according to the various chakras, the 7 chakras. And we're going to start doing that now. The first one is really to do with seeing if we can squeeze out of our brain those bad fat cells. Remember those cells that were holding all those bad thoughts that kept us awake. Okay, what we're first going to do is called the crown chakra. So we're going to put our hands like this. Notice we hold our hands kind of like a crown. Right? Then we're going to close our eyes real tight. Real tight. Now notice, not just tight like this, but tight like this. And some people, when they do this, notice I almost feel like I want to yawn already. Notice I'm breathing in. When you do this, you actually hear a bit of a rumble in your ears. Okay, I've got to do this again now. Check this out. I've got to close my eyes tight. I've got to breathe in. And as I do that, notice I turn kind of my hands and I'm going to stretch my arms and I'm yawning in again. Oh my gosh. Oh, and notice the sound that we made. The sound that we made was pretty high. It was, oh. And notice my hands are clapped, you know, are really squished. Notice when you do that with your biceps. Oh, and it feels like you want to do this and you want to do that. Now notice when I started, it was like this. I started, it was really ugly. Look at my ugly face. I squeeze out those brain cells. Still ugly, but it starts feeling really good. Oh my gosh, this feels so good. Oh, as soon as I said this feels so good, notice that my face started looking blissful. It must be good for us. So in a way, we are now talking to ourselves. Notice you heard me say, this feels good. And it's important that you say that to yourself too. We normally say all kinds of negative things to ourselves. I should do this better. Next time I have to fix this up. I shouldn't have done this. Well, not about turning around and saying, this feels good. I'm doing the right thing. When you do that, you're going to feel blissful. And when you feel blissful, you're going to be a very nicer human being to be with. And of course, there will be way less stress and strife in your life. All right. So what happened now? We have actually in our brain as many lymph vessels as we have red blood vessels. Now those red blood vessels are called capillaries. The lymph vessels are also called capillaries. They're very tiny vessels, and what they do is when we squeeze that brain real hard, they actually pick up those brain cells and the waste products. Also when we stretch the arms like this, those lymph cells, they actually pick up those products from the waste. They pick it up and they send it and they transport it to the lymph nodes. Then at some point the lymph nodes are supposed to drain it into eventually the blood system, and then eventually goes to the kidneys, and eventually we go to the bathroom and we get rid of all those bad thoughts, right? All right. So what we just did was we squished out all those bad brain cells, but they're still in the lymph system. They're not going to go to the kidneys yet. We'll do that a little later. All right. So remember that was the crown chakra.